Hello and welcome back for another video. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. This is Quina. And today is the second day of 2019 and overall we are seeing quite a lot of green in the overall market cap of cryptocurrency and prices overall. Now, as you can see in the screen, it's mostly greens. And the overall total market cap of cryptocurrency at the time of recording is about 130 billion, which is much higher than close to 100 billion way back in mid-December 2018. And the other notable development is that Ethereum has actually currently overtaken XRP as the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. But the competition is still on, and the total market cap is very close, it's neck to neck. Sorry, in terms of Ethereum, I'm looking at the wrong chart. In terms of Ethereum, the total market cap is 15.1 billion and Ripple is XRP is 14.7 billion. So it's really, really close, right? Now, the other thing is this: why is Ethereum, experiencing such bullish price gains? Is basically close to 10% price gains over the last 24 hours. It's because of the expected fork that's going to happen. The most notable one is Constantinople fork, which is expected to happen on 16th of January. That will basically change the way new Ethereum token is produced. The way it is produced currently is using same as Bitcoin, called proof of work, right? So basically a lot of computers need to solve very complex mathematical problems so that the one lucky winner will basically get awarded a new token of Ethereum or Bitcoin. That's called proof of work. So basically, you need to have electricity to actually make sure new coins are produced. But they're going to change once Constantinople is launched, January 16, target date, then the Ethereum will change to proof of stake. And that just means that basically they don't need to use a lot of electricity anymore. And basically then people will just lock up the coins, right? Called staking their coins, so lock up their coins in the network. And then they basically that gives them the right to actually have more say in the network. And that's basically generally seen as a positive for Ethereum and hence the price gain now, right? Let's look at other news. XRP is in the news again, no surprise, right? After the holidays, they're in the news again. 1.1 billion XRP transaction gets moved to Ripple OTC distribution wallet. Again, it's huge amount. It's about $400 million worth of $392.8 million worth of Ripple XRP has been transferred on 1st of January. It's basically from a wallet to a DTC. So it's basically to an OTC, over-the-counter wallet. But the fees, again, is super cheap. It's less than 1 cent, Of course, if you were to move this much, again, in fiat dollar through the bank, right, then you really have to pay $1 million in fees. So again, $1 million in savings. Now, of course, the social media world has gone crazy over, why the people do such a thing. But yeah, we don't really sure, but it could be some institutions, right, or some basically some institutional investor who such big amount has to be an institutional investor, right, who move this kind of funds, right? So that's basically okay. Next. So the title is: we are finding a bottom for large, lasting, and liquid crypto assets like Bitcoin. So Fred Wilson is a leading venture capitalist and a co-founder of world-renowned Union Square Ventures. Which other stocks are they investing in? They are the basic early investors in Twitter, Tumblr, Kickstarter, right? So very renowned people, very known, respected people in the venture capital world. It's basically saying, very positive on Bitcoin overall. Okay, and basically they're saying he is seeing that it's going to be bottoming in 2019, but this process could occupy much of 2019, especially due to the volatility this asset class is subject to. Now the thing is that he doesn't see a straight line, but rather he see a number of bullish runs followed by selling pressures, and some of it could test the year-to-date low, which is the last year's year-to-date low of 3,150. But basically he thinks that overall long term is still a very positive for cryptocurrencies overall. And again, this is no surprise, right? So just to remind everybody, or maybe you are new on this channel or you're new in cryptocurrencies, right? Basically what's going to happen is ICE, which is the Intercontinental Exchange, who is the owner of New York Stock Exchange, is going to launch something called a BACT, BAKKT. That is going to be the platform that facilitate the institutionals to trade Bitcoin, and they're going to launch a new product called Bitcoin futures. But the very interesting thing is that it actually is a physical delivery. That means they will need the physical Bitcoin to make good their promise. When in a future date, when people need to close out the contract, they would need the actual Bitcoin to to actually fulfill their required contract terms. Yeah, so that's what it is. So it will definitely seen as very positive. Of course, another exchange called ErisX, which have been their investors are very famous, like Nasdaq, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, right? All these are just top names in the stock brokerage world and fund management world, that they have invested in ErisX among others. And ErisX is also going to launch, right, basically in Q1 2019. And this is again competition, and these kind of institutions will basically allow or facilitate trades by institutions, and they are all preparing for institutions to come in and trade cryptocurrencies, right? Why else would they invest that money if not, right? Seriously, I mean, their money can be better invested elsewhere as well, because there is opportunity cost of money, right? Then the other thing is this: Nasdaq is also launching their own Bitcoin products apart from investing in ErisX and another crypto exchange. Yeah, so a lot of bullish news expected in 2019. Now, Fortnite store accepts crypto. Now, Fortnite is basically a very famous games, right? And the online gaming world will basically, right? I mean, my take is really that the gaming is going to be one of the booster to really, one of the early Kickstarter, I think, to actually fast forward the crypto adoption first in the gaming world. Now, the thing is this: because games, right, really, I mean, it's very virtual. People who play games are generally younger. They are very used to, living in a very virtual world, and it's just makes sense, right? It just naturally makes sense for them to transact in cryptocurrencies, right? Which is super fast, right? That they can transact and receive their goods immediately. Now, the thing is this: Fortnite. Now, gaming industry overall in the world globally is 130 billion worth, right? It's much bigger than the movie industry, which is about 40 billion. Music industry, 20 billion. Just to give you that size, right? It's about 3 times the movie industry, right? Yeah. But interesting thing is that now they only accept Monero. Monero is more a privacy coin, definitely more. So then the appeal of Monero is actually because the identity of the people using the Monero token or coin is much their confidentiality or the transparency is basically very low, and the privacy is super high compared to Bitcoin. So for now, Fortnite only accept Monero. Well, why? It could be that because of you just gamers want to have that identity just being concealed, right? Yeah, so that's okay. Next up, hackers demand Bitcoin or threaten to expose the truth of 9/11. Now, this is interesting that, I mean, this could be a good marketing or a bad marketing for Bitcoin, right? Because basically what happened is that, again, it's associated with bad things, right? Hackers and, but on the other side is kind of like what they want is that if you don't pay them, they're going to expose the truth of 9/11, which I thought it may be a good thing as well, because I know a lot of people might want to know what actually happened, right, on 9/11. And they claim that they have actually a lot of documents, a lot of classified documents, a lot of proofs to substantiate, these shocking claims. And I just wonder, and they didn't specifically make any claims to any particular person. They just, post out an announcement like this. Now, the thing is this: I think, so I'm not sure, right? But my take is that either way, I think it's basically good and bad. Bad is because then, again, it's associated with a wrong way. But on the other side, that, if you don't pay them, then it's also good that we get, more truth. So it aligns to Bitcoin linkage with freedom, supporting freedom, right? So, yeah. Next up, for adoption and marketing use, over 900 retailers now accepting Bitcoin Cash. And don't forget, Bitcoin Cash is basically a hard fork from Bitcoin. And of course, now despite that, few months and of drama, right? In fact, sorry, it's year-long drama of the Bitcoin Cash, and the Bitcoin Cash has another further fork, right? Now, basically, the thing is this: the good thing was, after 1.5 years almost since the fork of Bitcoin Cash, since they created Bitcoin Cash, sorry, and again, for people who don't know, a bit of backdrop first. Bitcoin Cash was created because seemingly it was meant to solve the problem that Bitcoin was slow, and the fees is relatively the transaction speed is the major issues, right? That they're trying to solve, that they want to fork out into Bitcoin Cash. And the majority of the community want to stick to the Bitcoin Core, which is the #1 Bitcoin today, right? The original Bitcoin is called Bitcoin Core. And they want to stick to, they want to support that network, but using something called Lightning Network to make the transactions faster. But that will take a longer time to roll out, the launch. In fact, Lightning Network is still in the process of, finalization and fine-tuning now, although they make a lot of progress in 2018. But Bitcoin Cash just trying to solve it by having a bigger block of transaction that can go through. Now, the problem is this: to process bigger block of transactions, you need very strong, super highways. Imagine like, a super highway. So now only those very fast cars can travel on them. If you're a slower car or you're a mediocre average car, it's very hard for you to travel on the super highway. So the Bitcoin Cash network now is like that super highway. So only people with very high power computer can actually use that network. So that's why, a lot of people prefer to stick back to Bitcoin Core. And, the other thing is also, too high superpower, then you cannot have a lot of people on it. So the network effect is basically lower in Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin Core. And, basically the time and, history has shown that Bitcoin continue to be in the lead, right? Though Bitcoin Cash are able to actually sign up a lot of retailers as well, and that's what they are actually saying in this news, yeah? So I think overall this is good for cryptocurrency regardless, right? And I think also that with Lightning Network being launched for Bitcoin in the future, not too long future ahead, then Bitcoin will also see a lot of adoption. But for now, right, I think it is fine that, because basically what a lot of people are expecting is there may not be just one, dominant coin in the future, or there won't be only one surviving coin in the future. There might be a handful, but I think a lot of people, my own opinion is that Bitcoin will be still in the lead, so they are the dominant. But then you will still see maybe the next, 7 or 8 that will still be used by a lot of people, and will be survive into the long term. That's my own personal opinion. Okay. Next, Bitcoin exchange HitBTC freezes customers' accounts ahead of proof of keys event. Now, let me first start off with what is proof of keys events. Now, proof of keys events is actually suggested by a very respected individual called Anthony Pompliano, right? Basically, he's saying January 3rd, which is tomorrow, basically, remove all your coins from centralized crypto exchanges and put it, make sure you moved it to your cold storage, so something like Ledger wallet, or Trezor, and whatever other wallet that you use, but those two are the famous ones, right, that people recommend. Now, then, so to basically prove, right, that you do have your own coins, right? And just to make sure that the cryptocurrency exchange, those centralized exchange, are not, are not doing wash trading. They're not creating things out of thin air that, they claim to have, but actually don't have. Now, the thing is this, so this is very important now, but the thing is there is an exchange now, HitBTC, that actually doesn't allow people to withdraw their coins ahead of tomorrow, right? So a lot of people have already subscribed to these events, to basically saying that they will support, that they will actually move out their coins from exchange. And if everybody do this, then we can really know, right, whether any exchange are actually playing foul, right? They basically, so something like the current, something like basically current government today, right? That they can simply print money as much as they can. Now, the thing is this, because no one can control, no one can audit. But with cryptocurrency, and as long as you move away from the cryptocurrency exchange, those centralized exchanges, then you know whether you have the coins or not, right? And basically, just to quote Tim Draper, right, a very famous venture capitalist who is a very pro-Bitcoinist, and he was the one who predicted that Bitcoin will reach 10,000 in 2017, and he was correct, right? And he was also being invited by the Donald Trump government to actually advise on their regulation. So he is definitely a very influential and respected individual in this space. He's basically saying, he said, you will realize the sense of freedom when you actually pull, that cold storage, which is like a USB drive, right, from your computer, because your coins is in it, you will have that sense of liberation, right? So I suggest, right, and urge all of you really to actually adopt this practice as well for tomorrow, basically. So you need to do it today, so to see, because it's tomorrow, is the date, is basically the anniversary of the Bitcoin creation date, right? It's birthday, is basically Bitcoin birthday. So it's to celebrate that 10-year birthday. So we're going to have this, event. And as if many people participate, then it will be great. Then we can really see, right, whether it supports the hypothesis, that centralized exchanges are good or they are already playing foul now, right? So yeah, so that's good. Now the thing is, HitBTC is making the news because they actually freezes. That means that this allow customers to make withdrawal, and that's why they are being slammed, in the social media. And not too long ago, in fact, in June 2018, John McAfee, which is again a pro-Bitcoin person, he has actually also slammed HitBTC because they said basically that they are, their entry level is too high. That means, to purchase, the entry level is too high, and basically have asked people to boycott them. Yeah. Next, OpenNode rejects the 1.25 million fund offer from Roger Ver. Now, let me just quickly backdrop again. OpenNode is a Bitcoin payment processor. So basically, to allow merchants to accept Bitcoin, the OpenNode will be the engine to process all these payments. Yeah, and Tim Draper again have invested in this company. The thing is this, Roger Ver, who is the supporter behind Bitcoin Cash, wanted to offer OpenNode 1.25 million, right, in capital injection for them to move from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash, and they have rejected this. So I think this is really good news, because clearly this is again my personal opinion, right? I'm not a fan of Bitcoin Cash, right? So very, very honest. Now, the thing is, so that's why I clearly see this as a very positive news. And again, it just cements the dominance of Bitcoin, right? Because you really need, how do I say? Because yeah, you just really need a lot of supporters behind Bitcoin, because it really is still a very new, it's 10 years old, right? It's really still not yet even a teenager. So, you really need a lot of support, a lot of unification, a lot of unity behind to support, to make sure, right, that, the leading coin, if the leading coin fail, right, the overall cryptocurrency space is going to really suffer. So, I think it is important, because OpenNode is going to support the Lightning Network rollout. So definitely, if we, lose out, if OpenNode doesn't support Bitcoin, then, it's going to be a big problem. Yeah. Okay, next. And the last news for today, RBI shelves plan to launch digital currency. RBI is a central bank of India. They are basically, it's been rumored now that they have, they are not going to launch their own cryptocurrency. The thing is this, they are still not, Indian government still hasn't come out very clear on their regulations on cryptocurrency, and right, the rumor or the hypothesis is that it's because they generally want to see a lead from a bigger power first, like the US, right, on what they would do, because US, although there have been talks on in the US, regulations in the past have been not friendly to crypto, but I think just in December, there were 2 congressmen who actually lobby for basically friendly crypto regulations, something like, when they regulate internet in the early days, when basically they have a lot of freedom, right? But some light regulation, but still a lot of freedom for the internet sector to develop and grow, to foster innovation. Now, India most likely is going to look at US lead, and before they actually, do anything major. The other thing is for India is big news is that, Facebook is already rumored, and in fact they have already kind of like quite certain now that they're going to have their own cryptocurrency token and to facilitate peer-to-peer payment, right? And one of the markets that they're going to launch this is India. So when this Facebook coin, or don't know what it's called yet, when they're going to launch it in India, then I'm sure that by that time, right, the government will probably have been in talks with Facebook, and then regulations will be much clearer then. So with all this news, I think India will generally be positive eventually, just like a lot of the markets, right, have turned, like Thailand, like South Korea, they have eventually turned 180 degree from basically not basically against banning crypto to now, right, they are regulating it, they are accepting a lot of investments, of crypto exchange firms that are regulated are operating in their countries, Thailand and Korea, and they're also taxing, like Thailand is taxing 15% capital gains tax on people who invest in cryptocurrency. So so I think basically what will happen is that the governments will regulate what they can, because honestly, it's the millennials, it's the people, right, who basically will vote for them, right, who's going to be using this cryptocurrency. So yeah, okay, cool. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a great day wherever you are, right? And God bless, and live with high energy, live with high passion, and stay safe as well. Thank you.